Have you ever noticed that bamboo, despite being thin and seemingly fragile, can withstand the strongest winds while giant trees fall? Why? Because it bends but does not break. Emotional resilience is exactly that. The art of bending without losing your essence. Imagine your mind as a bamboo forest. Each challenge is a strong wind. If you try to resist rigidly, you might break. But if you learn to adapt, bend when necessary, and return to your natural state, nothing can destroy you. Bamboo is not strong despite its flexibility, it is strong because of it. But how do you cultivate this mental flexibility? Let's discover together with 3 strategies that will transform your approach to challenges. Have you ever felt completely defeated by a problem? What makes some people bounce back quickly while others remain stuck? The answer lies in emotional resilience. Today, you will discover how to turn adversities into opportunities for growth. Emotional resilience is not something you are born with, it is a skill that can be developed. And, contrary to what many believe, it is not about ignoring pain but learning to deal with it healthily. Let's explore 3 practical strategies to start building this skill today. But what exactly is emotional resilience? What would you do if you were in the middle of a storm? Would you be paralyzed by fear, or use every drop of rain to shape your inner strength? Life, after all, is like the ocean, full of unpredictable waves. No one escapes the rough tides, but the difference lies in how we navigate them. Emotional resilience is the rudder that helps us stay on course, even when the wind blows against us. Imagine losing something that seemed to be the center of your world, a job perhaps, or even an important relationship. Have you been there? I have. And I confess, I thought that shipwreck would be the end of my journey. But here's the truth. Often, what seems like an end is just the beginning of a new chapter. Studies show that 70% of people who face significant adversities not only survive, but emerge stronger. The secret? Transforming pain into fuel for growth. And what if I told you that emotional resilience is not a gift reserved for a few, that it can be cultivated like a plant that needs daily care? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, used to say, "Life is made of changes. Accepting this is the first step." But acceptance alone is not enough. How do we build this invisible muscle that supports us in the toughest moments? Let's dive into this journey together. Because deep down, we all want to be skilled navigators, ready to face any rough sea. What strategies do you already use to recover from adversities? 1. Face reality with honesty. Did you know that in airplanes, the autopilot only works well because it is constantly correcting small route deviations? It never flies in a perfectly straight line. Every second, it makes invisible micro-adjustments to stay on course. Life works the same way. Pretending everything is fine when it's not is like turning off the autopilot in the middle of turbulence. The secret is not to avoid the deviation, but to recognize that it exists and make small adjustments to move forward. What if facing reality is like looking directly at the sun? It hurts at first, but it's impossible to navigate without this light. The truth is that many of us prefer to hide behind emotional sunglasses, denying, postponing, or masking what really matters. But does running away solve anything? Or does it just prolong the storm? Resilience begins with honesty. Imagine this. You are lost in a dense forest. What do? Walk in circles, avoiding the sharpest branches, or face the path even if it seems difficult? Confronting reality is the first step to finding the way out. Let's practice. Here's a simple exercise inspired by Buddhism. 1. Pause and breathe. When a challenge arises, give yourself a moment of calm. 2. Ask the key question. What is the true dimension of this problem? 3. Separate facts from emotions. For example, instead of thinking, "This will ruin my life," say, "I am facing a temporary setback." If you were fired, acknowledge, "I lost my job, but I still have skills and opportunities ahead." This exercise is like cleaning a foggy window. It helps you see beyond the haze of emotions and clearly identify the next step. After all, what burden are you carrying today? And what if, instead of running from it, you brought it into the light of day? This is how we begin to transform obstacles into steps toward growth. What is the root deviation you are ignoring today? And what if, instead of trying to maintain perfect control, You accepted the necessary adjustment to keep flying. Now that you know how to face reality, let's see how changing your mindset can be the engine of your growth. 2. Develop a growth mindset. What if I told you that the human brain is more like a muscle than you imagine? Studies in neuroplasticity show that it literally changes shape when you learn something new. Each thought is like a dumbbell for your mind. This means that every time you face a challenge and decide not to give up, you are doing a mental workout. Failed? Great! You just lifted the heaviest weight in life's gym. It's not about winning every time, it's about getting stronger with each attempt. What if every obstacle was actually a teacher in disguise? And what if the seemingly impossible was just a locked door waiting for the right key? Life is not about avoiding storms, but learning to dance in the rain. And a growth mindset is the rhythm that keeps us moving forward. Resilient people see challenges as steps to something greater. They know that failures are not endings, but lessons. So, why not adopt this perspective too? Here's a practical exercise to start today. 1. Identify the negative thought. When something difficult arises, pay attention to what you tell yourself. Are you thinking, I can't handle this? Or maybe, this is impossible? 2. Rewrite the story. Replace these phrases with, this is a challenge, but I am learning to handle it. I will take one step at a time and see what I can discover. For example, imagine you are trying to learn a new language but feel like you will never succeed. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, try thinking, every new word I learn brings me closer to my goal. This small change is like adjusting the sails of a boat in the middle of a storm. We don't control the wind, but we can choose the direction. So, what is the next challenge you will face? And what if, instead of fearing it, you embraced it as an opportunity to grow? After all, what do you prefer? Being the person who gives up or the one who evolves? What was the mental weight you lifted recently? How did you feel afterward? Discomfort is part of growth, just like fatigue after a good workout. And what if I told you we don't have to lift these weights alone? Let's discover the invisible power of human connections. 3. Build a support network. Have you ever heard of emperor penguins? In the Antarctic winter, they survive temperatures of -60 degrees C by huddling in tight circles, taking turns so that no one is exposed to the extreme cold for too long. They literally survive together. The lesson here is clear. Even the most resilient beings on the planet know that mutual support is essential. Who is in the center of your circle? Are you also part of someone else's circle? Sometimes, being someone else's pillar is what keeps us strong. Who said heroes face battles alone? Even the greatest champions in history had their teams, their support networks. Remember Oprah Winfrey? Before becoming a global icon, she faced extreme poverty and emotional challenges. What kept her strong? A network of people who believed in her when her own confidence wavered. And you? Who is by your side as you navigate life's rough seas? No one is an island. We are bridges connected to each other. And these connections are like anchors in times of storm. They support us when we feel like we might lose ourselves. Here's a practical exercise to strengthen your network. 1. Identify your pillars. Who are the people you really trust? A friend? A mentor? A family member? 2. Share without fear. Choose one of these people and open your heart. Talking about your feelings is not weakness, it is courage. Try saying, I am going through this. Can you listen to me? 3. Be an anchor too. Strong relationships are two-way. Offer help before being asked. A simple, how can I support you, can change someone's day. For example, imagine a colleague is overwhelmed at work. By offering help or even just listening, you not only strengthen that relationship, but also create a cycle of mutual support. When it's your turn to need help, they will be there. So, who is the next person you will connect with? Could they be the key to a new perspective? Remember, asking for help is not admitting defeat. It is recognizing that together we are stronger. After all, who builds bridges crosses rivers more easily. Send a simple message today. I am here if you need me. You never know how much it might mean. Now that we've talked about support, let's address one of the biggest myths about resilience, the fear of failure. Did you know that the famous Nike logo, the swoosh, cost only $35 to create? And that, at the time, the company didn't even like it much? Today, that simple design is worth billions. What seemed like an irrelevant detail has become a global icon. The same goes for failure. What seems like a minor error today could be the detail that defines your future success. Failure is not a wallet, is an arrow pointing to where you need to grow. What if failure is not a wall, but a ladder? Yes, it might seem like a huge obstacle at the moment, but each step of that ladder is a lesson that takes you higher. And what if, instead of fearing the fall, you learn to use it as momentum? Imagine this. You didn't get promoted at work, or maybe you failed to deliver a project on time. It seems like the end of the world, right? But what if this defeat was just the beginning of something greater? Let's turn this moment into a learning experience with a simple exercise. 1. Feel without guilt. Recognize your emotions: frustration, disappointment, anger. Allow yourself to experience them like passing clouds in the sky. Don't push them down, let them flow. 2. Analyze calmly. Take a piece of paper and answer, what really happened? Don't focus on "I failed," but on the factors around it. Was it lack of preparation? Poor communication? An external surprise? 3. Create your flight plan. Now that you see the situation, ask yourself, what can I do differently next time? For example, I will seek feedback, invest in new skills, and organize myself better. A practical example? Think of Thomas Edison. He tried 1,000 times before lighting the first bulb. When asked about his failures, he replied, I didn't fail. I just discovered 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. And you? How many new ways can you discover to shine? So, what is the next step you will take? Could this fall be preparing you for an even bigger leap? Remember, success is not about avoiding falls, but learning to stand up stronger each time. Remember the words of Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning. When we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And what if each challenge was a brick to build a stronger bridge? And what if, instead of fearing falls, you turn them into steps toward growth? Let's reflect together and turn what seemed like an obstacle into strength. Exercise of reflection. Build your bridge. 1. Go back to the moment of the challenge. How did you react initially? Did you feel the ground slipping away? Was there a moment when everything seemed out of control? Remember, even the best navigators lose their way sometimes. What matters is not the fall, but how you adjust the sails. 2. Extract gold from stones. What lessons did this challenge bring? What did it reveal about you? Think about this. Even coal, under pressure, turns into a diamond. What can this experience teach you about your inner strength? 3. Take a step today. What small action can you take now to strengthen your resilience? Will it be seeking help, reflecting more, or simply taking a deep breath before acting? Imagine this. Each small step is like lighting a candle in the dark. The light may seem weak at first, but soon it illuminates the entire path. Take a recent failure. Reflect. What did it teach you that you would never have learned if everything had gone right? That learning is the true reward. So, what will be your next move? Will you let the challenge paralyze you, or will you use it to build something greater? Remember, the future belongs to those who learn from yesterday to transform today. Viktor Frankl said, when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And what if that change started now? What will be your choice? To let life knock you down, or to use every fall as momentum for the next leap? Remember, emotional resilience is not about avoiding storms, but learning to dance in the rain. This journey does not have to be lonely. We are made of stories, and yours can be beacons for those lost in the dark. Share in the comments a challenge you overcame. Your story could be the swoosh of someone's life, that small detail that inspires a giant transformation. And if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Together, let's build a network of learning, support, and courage. After all, who better than us to remind each other that, even in falls, there is strength to rise? And what if I told you that life is like a river? Sometimes it flows calmly and serenely, Other times it faces rocks and rapids. But the river never stops, it adapts, changes course, and moves forward. So do we. Emotional resilience is not about avoiding the rocks, but learning to flow even when they appear. Remember the bamboo? It bends with the wind but never breaks. Its strength lies in its flexibility. And you? How have you been facing your challenges? Can you confront reality with honesty, see obstacles as opportunities, and seek support from those around you? Think about this. What was the biggest challenge you've ever faced? What did it teach you about yourself? How do you react when control slips from your hands? Do you fight against the current or learn to surf the waves? Who are the pillars that support you in difficult moments? Have you thanked them recently? Now it's your turn to act. If this content resonated with you, like, share, and leave a comment sharing your story. Your words could inspire someone struggling with their own storm. Want to dive deeper? Access our free ebook. The link is in the first pinned comment. And discover practical tools to strengthen your emotional resilience. And remember, your journey doesn't end here. Check out other videos on the screen and continue building your bridge to personal growth. After all, who knows what new horizons you can reach when you decide to move forward?